Hey everybody, Backpack Hack here, coming at you with another trail tip. And today I'm going to do a review of the Yakima medium Skyrise tent. And because I've had it for 5 months, I'll put a link to the original video that I did about the tent when I first bought it, and the link to it in the description below. But I thought I'd do a little 5-month follow-up since it's coming up on 5 months since I purchased it. One thing I will say that is, I received the tent body. It had a rip in it. I contacted Yakima. They had no idea what caused it. I don't know what caused it. So to be fair to Yakima, they did stand behind it. They sent me another tent. It took them a while to do that, I think because they were simply trying to keep up with production. And it took about 2 months for me to get that replacement body. But that was no big deal because I'm pretty much a fair weather camper. When I'm camping locally nearby, I just wait for nice weather like this. So the rain fly wasn't that big of an issue, even though it probably still would have functioned just fine with that rip and the rain fly not in the actual proper position. So kudos to Yakima for replacing the tent body pretty much with no questions asked. How has it held up? It's held up pretty well. I've been out on probably about 15 overnight trips like I'm doing here now. I take these little trips to my local campground so I can do these videos and try out new equipment and gear and see where the deficiencies are in the gear that I do have or the gear that I don't have that I need to get. And it's held up quite well. I've probably been out about 12-14 times in a local trip like this overnight or over one or two night stays in local state parks or in county parks and things like that. It's held up very, very well. And in fact, I went 8 days to Wyoming to go see the eclipse in August of 2017. And so that was the first real road test of that tent, and it held up quite admirably, with the exception of one thing. Even though I like to camp out when it's nice, and I don't go out just because it's rain. I did go out here about a month ago because it was going to rain, because I wanted to see how the tent would fare in a good rain. And I went out on a night that I had some time available, and it was supposed to rain between midnight and 6 a.m. and it didn't start raining until about 5 in the morning, and then it rained till about 8 o'clock. And so I'm going to throw up a video here of while I'm in the tent. And the problem as I have is, well, the rain fly leaks.
Okay, I realize this isn't going to be the best part of the video here. This is the only scene that I can take inside from the tent because it's early morning. It started raining about a half hour ago, and it's pretty much a light drizzle like this, but it does intensify on occasion. It's really kicked up a little bit, and there isn't a whole lot of wind, but there have been some gusts. And I took this trip because it was supposed to rain, because I did want to test the tent out in a good rain to see how well it fared. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit disappointed in the rain fly. I am getting water underneath the rain fly, and it's making its way onto the tent. It's not very serious. Here's a picture of it here. It seems to be limited to where the rain fly has straps sewn, and there's little straps that strap onto the ribs that are above the tent itself, and that seems to be the only place where water is coming in, but it's working its way down onto the screens of the tent. And here's a photograph of what it looks like. I suppose if I closed that window I'd be alright as long as I didn't touch it, but at this point I'm kind of disappointed with the rain fly. And it's a good thing I just decided to test this out locally, because this isn't a trip that I'm on where I really have to rely on the tent. I'm only about 20 minutes from home right now, and it's not very windy right now, which I was kind of hoping the wind would pick up. It does on occasion, and the trees will move back and forth quite visibly, but that's why I took this trip, is I wanted to test the tent out itself in the rain. Like I said, I'm just kind of disappointed that the rain fly has not performed as it should.
Now, I did try several options on that. I tried a little tube of sealer. I sprayed the area with a waterproofing spray. I also put a waterproofing tape over those areas. They still leak a little bit. I haven't had a chance to get out in the rain like I had the first time to see how well it will hold up. I haven't had a chance to do this. So to be fair to Yakima, the verdict is still out on that one. The jury is still out on that one. A couple other things that I've noticed is, one is the bottom of the frame, as you fold it up where the ladder sits, and I've seen this in a lot of other videos, is that ladder creates a lot of wear and tear on that aluminum skin that's actually on the bottom of the cantilevered part, that when you fold it over, the ladder sits there, and there's a lot of wear on that. That was something I experienced. I see that in other YouTube videos of people who have this tent. So my solution has been to take a little floor mat, which I carried anyway, and put between the tent frame, the skin, and the ladder itself, and that has really helped cut down on that wear and tear. It really gets worse if you're in a dusty environment and you folded it up and you've got all this dirt and grit and everything. It just sits there and grinds it up. It's like sandpaper. So that was my solution. It was to use a floor mat, just a little welcome mat type thing that you have at your front door, and place it between the ladder and that skin of the frame of the tent. As I stated in my first video, the mattress pad not only is removable, but you can take it out of its slip cover, I guess to say. It does have a cloth cover on it, and you can take that out and run it through the laundry. And I did that before I went to Wyoming, so I'd have a nice clean tent. I got it all cleaned up and ready to go. One word of caution: that thing is an SOB to put back in that slip cover or whatever. That memory foam is just so clingy, so it's not slick and slippery. I mean, you just have to fight it. It took me about an hour to get that thing back in there and in position, and where it would all set out and be where it was supposed to be. So that was a big pain. Now, I don't know whether that's indigenous to just Yakimas or whether all rooftop tents that use the same design, whether they suffer from that or not. But just be aware of that. That's something that, although it can be done, it's a bear to do. But long story short on this whole thing, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd still put the Yakima probably about a 7 or an 8. Yeah, the rainfly does leak. I don't know whether it still leaks. Some people will say I shouldn't have to do all that just to keep it from leaking. But, you know, I don't think you're ever going to find a perfect tent. I mean, that is part of tent camping. You're going to have leaks eventually. And a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't have one starting right out of the gate. It should at least deflect the rain. Now, to be true, I didn't get wet, other than the other problem I had was water wicking into the corners, and I'll show you a video here about that right now. And here's what is happening. Water, this corner is so close to here that water is able to, in the wind, drip, and it's actually wet clear up into here. And there's water on the outside of the tent, even up into here. And in fact, you can see water has been dripping down here. So this is an issue with this tent, is the rainfly is just not doing a very good job of keeping the rain away from the tent. After I had this problem, I went home and I opened up the tent and I started spraying water out of a spritzer bottle, and I found that the water was actually coming in through the stitching where the rainfly straps are attached to the tent body. I think that's where the water is wicking through, is it's just following those threads from the outside to the inside of the tent, and the water is just wicking through. So to solve that, I'm going to try to seal both the inside and the outside, and try to put some sealant into that space between, on top of the strap and between it and the tent body itself, to hopefully alleviate that water wicking through. If nothing else, my stopgap plan is to simply pull those corners up when it is raining outside, so hopefully they don't get wet. I haven't had a chance to try this in the rain, so again, the jury is still out on this solution. So that's what I did to hopefully cure the water wicking in the corners. Another solution I have is possibly, if it's going to rain, simply pull the corners up away from that area so there's nothing touching there, and the mattress pad cover won't wick that moisture in. If it does come in, maybe it'll just leak, dribble back down outside, and I don't know. One of my other big issues is the straps along the side, the nylon straps that you use to compress the tent down for travel when you put the tent together and fold it up, the overlap of the two pieces of the Velcro are not sufficient to really get a good grip. The tent has a tendency to push that Velcro apart, and it doesn't hold it very tight. And I find that having to rely on the vinyl cover to actually hold the tent together in a proper compressed state. My solution to that has been to simply buy some Velcro at the local craft store and hand sew an extra piece of the matching Velcro part onto the strap. Like I say, it's a problem to have to do this. A lot of people say you shouldn't have to, but Yakima is aware of the problem. I have told them, I've voiced my concern to them about this, but this is my solution, is to simply sew another piece of Velcro onto that nylon strap, and that works just perfectly fine. How does this compare to other tents? I really can't tell you. I don't own another tent like this, so I can't tell you how it compares. But am I going to keep it? Yes. First off, I'm too heavily invested in it. I've got a lot of customizations. I've put it on a trailer, and I've got a lot of things that I've done to make it work for me. So I'm not going to give up on it simply because of a few glitches. It's like anything else in life. There are no guarantees. I'm going to live with them. I'm going to engineer probably a solution for some of them. Some of them I'm just going to have to put up with. And since I know about the issues, maybe I can do something to simply mitigate that issue as opposed to eliminate it. So with all that said, I'm still very happy with the tent. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to probably do some more modifications to it, more customizations. And with that, I will wrap up this video. This is Backpack Hack. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out there on the trail.